Hello and welcome back to another FPL video. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about transfer plans for game week 18. Now these aren't specific transfer plans for my team, these are just certain players if you have them I'd recommend you get rid of, and these are the players who I'd say maybe you should have a look at putting these in. Now as you can see in red I've got Lloris, he's the goalkeeper I recommend getting rid of, and MESLIER in green is the player I'd recommend buying. Now obviously game week 18 fixtures tells a different story, and you're probably thinking what you want about. Newcastle away is a really tough fixture to be fair for MESLIER. I can see him getting some save points in that game, but yeah, clean sheet doesn't look good, and Villa at home is pretty decent for Lloris, so it does sound stupid, but I'm thinking more long term. Leeds have got West Ham, Villa, Brentford and Forest coming up after this fixture, so that's pretty decent. Whereas yes, Spurs have a double game week, but first they've got Crystal Palace away. That's not an easy place to go to. A double game week is Arsenal and Man City, the two toughest teams in the league so far this season. Fulham away is not easy at all. I mean, it's Man City again. They're horrible fixtures they are, and I don't know about you, but I don't think much of Spurs' defence. If you're going to get a Spurs player, you get Harry Kane, or maybe a Kulu, whatever his name is, Kulu. Those are the players you probably go for. Don't go any for defenders, and don't go for their keeper, because they're not going to get you many points. Next up, defenders now. These are the defenders I recommend selling if you've got. First up, Reece James, 21% owned. I'm in that 21% ownership. Yeah, he's going to be out of my team. I'm sure he's going to be out of your team. He's out for a month. It was absolutely gutted when he went off injured. Not the fact that it was the injury, it's the fact that if he stayed on for 7 more minutes, we would have got that clean sheet. I couldn't believe it. Unbelievable. So, fortunately, he's going to be gone. With the other side, I've gone for the whole Crystal Palace defence, because there's not a single defender who I could say go for him. Obviously, 2 of them got sent off the other day. Joel Ward, I had him in my team at one point. He was shocking. Patrick Vieira just doesn't seem to be able to keep it together, i.e. keep the same team. He's constantly changing it. Their defence is so poor. It's cheap, don't get me wrong. It's really cheap, and obviously barely anybody owns them. But if you ever thought about buying a Crystal Palace player, or defender I mean, don't bother, because they are shocking. They've got Bournemouth away, they're not going to win that. They're definitely going to concede a goal in that. It's just, they're a hard watch at the back. At the front, yeah, they look great, but defensively, they're terrible. Absolutely terrible. So these are the 2 defenders who I'd recommend you bring into your team. So obviously you're going to take Reece James out. So I would also recommend Robertson from Liverpool if you have a bit extra money. He'd probably be a decent buy as well. But for now, if you don't have that and you're looking at maybe a cheaper option, definitely recommend Schär of Newcastle. It's only 4.9 million, which is pretty decent. Next game's Leeds at home. That's a good fixture for Newcastle, especially when it's at St James's Park. Always bouncing there at the minute. Arsenal away is going to be a tough one, so you could put them on the bench. And then after that, it's Fulham at home, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth. They're good fixtures, they are. Obviously, it's going to be hard probably to get him in your team, though, because there's going to be a lot of people who've got Trippier, for obvious reasons, and they've probably got like a Pope in goal or Almiron, so they've got the free quota for Newcastle. So if you can't get him in, I'd definitely recommend Duncan Brighton. Now, doesn't look great, does it? Next game's Arsenal at home. Can't see him really getting anything there, but they do cause problems for Arsenal. But that was when Potter was in charge, so we'll see how we get on there. Everton away is a decent fixture. Obviously, Goodison Park, tough place to go, but I don't know what to think of Everton. Attacking wise, they're not great, so there's a good chance there. Liverpool at home, not great. So yeah, these fixtures aren't actually that great, really. But then after that, Leicester away, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Fulham. They go on a good run after game week 21. Obviously, it's for game week 18, but because he's cheap and he's always plays well for Brighton, maybe you should probably consider him putting him. And then you can put that money elsewhere into your midfield or in your strikers or whatever. So yeah, I definitely recommend going for these 2 defenders for a replacement. With the midfield now, these 2 players who I recommend selling. Now, I feel like I'm being horrible here to Crystal Palace, but they did have a bad game against Fulham the other day, so they're obviously going to be fresh in my mind right now. But Bournemouth away is actually a decent fixture, especially for Wilfried Zaha. But this guy is a burner, isn't he? He's an FPL burner. He'll go on a good run when you don't expect it, and when you expect him to go on a good run, he just seems to kill you off. It's terrible. But after Bournemouth away, Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, Brighton, does not get easy for him at all. So yeah, you could probably keep him in maybe for this week. If you feel a bit Bournemouth away, Bournemouth are decent at home, so it's not really a great fixture for Crystal Palace. You never know, they might try to bounce back, but I don't really see it. But I might be wrong, but if he was in my team, I'd probably get rid of him. Whereas James Maddison, now, I don't know what's going on with him, to be honest. He had that injury just before the World Cup. He went to the World Cup. They were saying, oh, he's going to be alright, He might even play. He never played for England. He's come back. Well, Leicester have come back. They played the other day, and he wasn't even in the squad. Which makes you think, well, how bad is this injury? Because they're saying it's alright, when he's not even in the Leicester squad. So, it must be worse than what they're saying. Liverpool away is not a great fixture either, but, I mean, they do have good fixtures after that, but it's really if he's fit. If he's back, then maybe you probably leave him in your team. But if he's not in this squad against Liverpool, then I'd probably just think of getting rid of him now, because having a player of 8.2 million sitting on your bench not playing, nah, you got to get rid. So you're getting rid of one of those players, if you got one of those players, or if you're getting rid of any other midfielder. These are the two midfielders I'd definitely recommend right now getting. Now, it does feel like, oh, they only scored the other day, that's why you're picking them. Yeah, well, that might have something to do with it, but there's a little more into it than that on these two. Chelsea, Mason Mount, I mean, Nottingham Forest away is a good fixture. Mason Mount, he always starts for Potter, he's always Chelsea's talisman, is the guy they look at. He's definitely the person I'd recommend looking at getting. They've got that double game week and game week 19. Yes, one's against Man City, but Fulham away, they might be able to do something there. And then Crystal Palace at home. Maybe, I don't know about game week 21 because they've got Liverpool away, but they could do something there. But then after that, they're alright until game week probably 25. So that's only like 2 game weeks really where you go, ooh, I don't know. Yeah, I'd definitely look at having him. He's only 7.5 million as well. Remember, he went down in price quite a bit from the start of the season. So he's somebody I'd definitely look at. On the other side, Benrahma. Now, when I was doing this before, I was thinking about who should I bring in. And I did think about, oh, West Ham, look at them. They've got some decent fixtures coming up. Brentford at home, Leeds, Wolves, Everton. They're good fixtures. Would I bring in Bowen? And then, obviously, the game happened, and then the penalty came out. And it was Benrahma that took it. Obviously, Bowen's not been doing well on penalties this season. So, Benrahma is now the penalty taker for West Ham. And if he carries on, because he's in good form at the minute, to be fair to him, if he carries on starting games for West Ham, a £5.6 million midfielder, that's more of an attacking midfielder that takes penalties, and with West Ham's good fixtures, I think this would be a great purchase. He's definitely somebody, if I didn't have the injury to Reece James, I mean, I'm not taking any hits, so if I didn't have that injury, I'd probably look at him. And yeah, you never know, if you've got Almiron on your team, let's say he goes in a bad run in the future, this guy could be an ideal replacement in the future. But yeah, those are the two midfielders I'd definitely consider bringing in if you don't have them. Strikers now. Always a fun one, isn't it, the strikers? Especially when you're like me and got a Darwin Nunez in your team, you know. He's always fun to watch. Always takes so many chances and never seems to deliver. I mean, obviously he got 2 just before the World Cup, and like me, I was thinking, oh, he might finally actually go on a run. He had a poor World Cup, really. And then that game the other day, I mean, come on. Chance. What more do you want? But yeah, sometimes I think maybe I could stick it in the net better than him. The only positive is he's getting these chances. Whether he actually finally goes and starts scoring, we're yet to see. But for a guy that's 9 million at the minute, that's not taking his chances, you might just think, oh, what's the point, and just get rid of him. Especially if you're thinking, you know what, stuff this, I'm going to change my plans, go for a Liverpool defender, have obviously Salah, maybe go for double. I wouldn't go triple Liverpool right now, actually. No, don't listen to that. Don't go triple Liverpool right now. But yeah, he's somebody I'll probably look at getting rid of. But they do have not easy fixtures, but okay fixtures. But There is probably other players out there that are probably better, and if you had enough already of him, yeah, get rid. If I didn't have the injury and had 2 free transfers, I'd probably look at him, get him gone as well. Yeah, he's one guy I'd probably look at. And the other one, Callum Wilson, man. I mean, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he sounds like a massive pussy, really. Illness, again. It's same with England when he was over there. Oh, he's got an illness. Was it England or was it just before the World Cup? Where he was at Newcastle and he didn't play because he was ill. I wish they told you what the illness is. Is it COVID? Is it a sniffle? Is it a sore throat? What is it? For him to not play because of illness, it's frustrating. I want to know more. When you got 7.4 million on your bench, you just think, oh, stuff it. Just sell him. I would. I mean, Mitrovic, he's cheaper. He scores goals. It just makes more sense. Oh, his next game's Leeds. If he plays that, you'd probably be lucky. Because after that, Arsenal, I don't see him scoring. But then maybe the next few games, he probably would score. But who knows? Isaac might come back by then. But yeah, that illness, I mean, if I had him in my team, I'd be really annoyed for him to not play because of an illness. So that's why he's in there, especially when other other strikers were scoring the other day. You're on a back foot when you got somebody who's not even in the squad. These are my strikers I'd recommend bringing in for if you got one of those two, for example. Now, Mitrovic, I'm sure a lot of people are buying him now after the game he had the other day, which is understandable. I've got Mitrovic. Glad I bought him in because he smashed it. He's got a double game week in game week 19. Defensively, I wouldn't buy a Fulham defender, but I'd definitely buy Mitrovic in those games. He was definitely going to cause problems. I mean, he's got Southampton at home next game, so I can see him scoring in that game as well. So he's got good fixtures coming up. He's in probably the form of his, well, I say form of his life. He actually smashed it in the Championship last season as well. So he's in great form for Fulham. It just seems like a good buy, especially when he's only 6.8 million. So yeah, definitely go for him. And the other guy, Shea Adams, he's definitely a punt, a differential. Just somebody different I thought I'd go for. I've put him in my draft just before game week 17. I did contemplate having him. Obviously, he did blank in game week 17, so probably got away with it. Then again, I've got Darwin Nunez, so it wouldn't really have mattered, really, would it? But yeah, I've gone for Shea Adams here. He's got Fulham away next game, so these two are actually playing each other next game. But after that, Forest at home, good fixture. Everton away, Villa at home, Brentford, Wolves. They've got good fixtures right up to middle of Feb. So it probably a good time to take a punt. He does do this against the teams where you'd probably expect him to score. He does actually score goals against them. So it could be a good little punt to go for. So that's why I've gone for Shea Adams along with Mitrovic to players that you might want to look at buying. And there you go. Those are transfer plans for game week 18. Now I do hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe. You don't have to listen to what I said about players coming in and out because I might be wrong and there's probably better options out there anyway. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll see you all on the next one.